There you go again before the smartphone be overheated again. I hope not. And that stuff I said before, fiction versus reality. Have to go to fiction all the time from day to reach the reality. As you know, the previous video that happens in the past. There was a warrior and he made the right choice for his life. He knew that he should between reality and fiction, and he decided to go to the fiction way. So Helena was como é raptada em inglês, sim, né? Então, Helena foi raptada e
acabei de procurar ainda para causa disso.
era a mulher mais linda do mundo. Isso causou um problema terrível na Grécia 1000 anos antes de Cristo. That's the. It seems it begins a little theater fiction, you know. Seems a fiction because the more beautiful women in the world, it seems something fictional, no? And because of that, all the kings in the Mediterranean Union decided to go in a war. Totally fiction, and one of the greatest adventures in the world will begin. And Ulysses wanted to have a main role in this story, a main role. So he tried to be principal actor, and this creates a fictional theater situation. He was the only one that said that he would not go. I will not go. I don't want this. It's terrible. It's horrible. And he escaped, and he went to the camp. He was disguised as a man that worked in the agriculture, so nobody would find him. But they found him, and they forced him to go. And he screamed a lot. He said he wouldn't go. But he was forced to go, and then he had hope about it. Yes, he wanted to discover the truth about the life. And the only way to go to the truth, what he bet in this. The only way to go to the truth is the fiction. So we use a lot of fiction to which one day he would find the truth about. Man. The boats were in the sea, they started their adventure. After 10 years, Odissey said, that's enough. I have to change now. Because I can't spend all my life in this, searching for something in this war. I invented this war. and I have to finish now and try to keep my way to discover the truth. And then he decided he had to finish the war. Then he would need a big theater, a big fiction. The best he could build to stop the war is necessary. And then he created a big horse made of wood. And all the warriors would be inside the horse. One of the biggest fictions built in the history of the movie theaters. Then the war stopped. And Odissey realized that he had finished half of his tasks. And he will now go back to Odissey. No? My half of the way he had conquered, but not find the truth. And then he started to visit as the other kings, the warriors were not very worried about finding the truth. They returned directed to Greece, but now believes that he will search for the truth. And the way of doing that, of course, was creating more and more fiction. All the fiction he could create, and maybe he will find a new moment that the truth inside. All these adventures. And the adventures began, and you see an example of the truth and fiction and reality. The moment created fiction, he painted his hair red, and this is a fiction, and maybe you stare at that, you see more reality in that, isn't it? Well, all the adventures of this, when coming back, were theaters, created the fictions, a lot of fiction, where he tried to find the reality and at the same time escaping for the death. Of course, because each scenario of the play of the theater, see if they fail in some moment, he would die and the adventure would finish. So it's not easy to find the truth without dying. And everything should be perfect, the construction. And he had one adventure after the other. And they had finally his opportunity to find the truth. And the boat was going, and he said, there is something strange, because a great silence arrived now at the great south, and the sea is very calm.
Tá pronto.
Próximo domingo ele pega
Então, domingo que
sábado.
vem.
Próximo sábado ou domingo ele pega o jogo.
Oh no, see that is the island of the mermaids. It's very dangerous, because the schools of many warriors that trying to listen to the mermaids, they die. The schools are there. And while investigating, police realized that he's shining near the truth. Because if you know the truth, you discover the truth. If you hold the truth in your arm, you die quickly. And he needed a very good fiction to face it and discover the truth finally. And this creation, this situation, he asked the man to tie him in the mast in very strong chains. So we could hear the mermaid and his men, they put cotton in the ears so they not hear that, and you pass directly by the island. They wouldn't suffer anything, they wouldn't die, nothing. But Ulysses wanted to hear the truth without dying. And so it was like this. Well, they say the truth really could be told by the mermaids because they are specialists in that, the truth. And when the Odissey was in front of the mermaids, he made the question. What is the truth? And he screamed a lot. He passed by the island without dying. It was a success, big success. But for him, he's not happy, not laughing, nothing. He was in despair. He was screaming a lot. He was crying. He asked for they release the chains. He would jump into the island. But it was already a theater that we were doing, that it was terrific, what they say. But if it was the truth, it was the truth. Not bad, but he created all that theater in despair. What's the climax of the play, you know? And the public, they clap the hands. It's the spectacle. Very good part played by Ulysses in this point of without necessarily no more things to be good finish the story here. But you know, Ulysses had to go home. His wife Penelope, of course, survived to wait 20 years. She had to make some fiction, so she built a rug during the day, and during the night she went because he had many candidates inside her house, many candidates. That's a picture too, isn't it? And she had to left to the house to go outside in the night, where she took the hugger under her hand, and she destroyed the hugger. When she went back home, they asked her what happened? This is nothing important. Okay. We don't say what she did during the night, literally.
Olha, vai beber uma dessas.
So he could wait for you to come back. He had been waiting for 20 years. There's a complete fiction. As he should be. Then come back to Odysseus. What would happen to him? You need the truth, so you should die immediately. But he didn't die. Some of the adventures would come where they would probably be killed. And he had to be wise. First, Poseidon was very upset with this because you cheated like they did in the horse, you cheated again. So you should die. They throw very strong ways against the boat of Odysseus, trying to kill him. But he went more adventurous, and many men died. The boats were destroyed because of that. He knew the truth. He cheated everything that he couldn't do without dying. And at the final of all the adventures, he was alone. All the ship destroyers, and he arrived naked in an island. And he arrived in the island. He didn't know his island anymore. What is that place? What am I doing here? Those who think that happened, and then you create a new reality and you come back to the past. You cannot found that reality anymore because of the theater, a little reality inside. You create a new reality, you forget all your past. It was completely eliminated. That's what it. But what the mermaid said to Ulysses, of course, the truth. You don't have the words because you cannot face the reality. She said that maybe someone died, people will die now, because face the reality is difficult. But word has it nowadays you can find everything on the internet. So look in the internet. You find that he asked the mermaids the two more important questions he wanted to know about the life, everything that he would. He wanted to know what happened in the earth. What happened in the earth is what the earth is. He wanted to know everything about the world, isn't it? And he wouldn't know. He wanted to know about the destiny. What the destiny was created for him. And expect the mermaid to answer this question. Why he had that destiny. And of course, if you know a truth like that, you die immediately. Those who try to know the reason of the things, the real things and the reason of the things, that is a beer until she wants to die me. She didn't like my destiny. I have to do something. You die if you want to know the reason of everything. Don't try to know the reason, the real thing, go to the fiction, remain the fiction, all that. Don't try to understand your destiny because if it is right inside the earth, like she said, there was nothing that can be done about the destiny. If try to know, you die, of course. The other question is the same, the first question, same thing. It's the same question, two questions, but they are the same question. He asked what the gods thought about the war of Troy. What the gods thought about the war of Troy? It's always also the destiny, what the destiny was like that. But also what the gods planned for his life, what they wanted for his life. His destiny. And it's a similar question. If you want to know, you die. Because at the Homero, the author, thought about the gods, the gods, they don't think something that has a reason, something that you can understand easily. If you try to understand what they think, you die. Like in there is a part in the Odissey story like that. It's in the Iliad that the army of the Greece was on one side forming, and the warriors of the Troy side was forming at the other side. They prepare for war. And they think all the soldiers, all the kings, God are with them. They are on the right side of the history. And they have the destiny to win this war. But what happened? A pair of gods, they leave the sky flying like birds transforming in birds. They go into a branch of a tree, watching the warriors from one side and another, and they ride the birds. They watch behind. I don't know what to say in English. The baba. A baba estava escorrendo do bico dos deuses. That's what the Homero and the Greeks, they think about the gods, No importance of knowing the reason, no importance of knowing the future, no importance of knowing about the gods or the scientists actually make the bird. They try to forsake the future. The scientists make a lot of schedules works because it's really difficult and everybody dies to follow this way. That's the history of the Odissey. And nobody knows if the mermaids really gave him the answer. Because if Ulysses is an actor, because he may have pretended everything that they heard something about the mermaids. In reality, they didn't say anything because they would be very upset because Ulysses cheated. He was tired to the master. So that's why Kafka he wrote this part of the story of Homero and say that it's not possible that mermaids didn't say anything because they had a better gun, more powerful, more dangerous that can be inside the head of a mermaid. And so you have to pay attention. If the mermaids they sing a lot, but they don't know what they have in their minds, and they may have done this contra-attack as they did. They kept the silence, a complete silence. Against the more powerful gun they had. And Ulysses went away, pretending he had heard the answer, but in fact he hadn't heard anything. But who wrote these words that the mermaids gave in the story? I don't know, because 3,000 years of time that history passed. All the writers, the text of the story, and they made some appointments. They wrote. They additioned some. They had some text. Was samba do crioulo doido, as it was nowadays for us to read. Homero is the only one that knew the complete text. At that time, it was not the alphabet, not possible write thing, and went from square to square like that. I'm telling a story in a square. He did the same thing, but he didn't have a cell phone in the hand. If he had more precisely the history easily. And then the history arrived here. And Ulysses returned home, finally. But how? As he was very into his new adventures in new life, it was quite impossible to come back. Poor Penelope that was waiting to get married, to restart the marriage. So they have to use the field again to bring Ulysses back. They put a stage. Ulysses was the stage. There, in an island, they put a big public there, waiting, hearing Ulysses, of course. And they asked Ulysses to tell the history of his life. If there is not more important the history of his life, yes or no? He started to tell the stories and to improve the quality of his part of the story. They gave him a lot of wine take one more wine, take one more wine. And his tests were improved. He was much more satisfied to history tell. Empolgação, slow, and then he felt as if they put him in a very fast boat because they stopped in an island. Os chamadores eram muito treinados numa arte que Odissey ainda estava aprendendo, porque é uma coisa bem específica daquela ilha. Os chamadores eram exímios, eles remavam muito depressa, porque eles nunca olhavam para o lado, então eles iam sempre em linha reta. E eles nunca passaram perto das sereias. E assim eles levaram muito rápido o Ulisses de volta. Através de um teatro, o Ulisses voltou para sua casa. Onde o Ulisses pensou que estava tudo resolvido, mas ainda ia ter a mais difícil aventura da sua vida. Para voltar a ser casado com Penélope, ele ia ter que enfrentar ali os pretendentes do mais forte, o que mais impressionava assim, um grande guerreiro, que era talvez fosse casar com Penélope. E ele tinha que fazer alguma coisa impossível. Eles colocaram vários machados que tinham alinhados que tinham um furo no meio. Era uma linha de machado. E Ulisses, se ele fosse o verdadeiro Ulisses, que ninguém mais o reconhecia a esse tempo, ele tinha que dar uma flechada perfeita. Mas tão perfeita que não poderia ter nem o mínimo erro. Teria que ser tão perfeito que atravessaria todos os machados. E aí ele conseguiria casar com a Penélope de volta. E ele conseguiu e saiu vitorioso. Assim terminava a história de Ulisses. Ulisses renasceria de novo em mais uma saída para o mar, na história Dante Alighieri, a Divina Comédia, não? Que também é bastante interessante o que aconteceu nessa história, nessa saída de Ulisses. Mas isso é papo para um outro dia, porque esse vídeo aqui não vai caber em lugar nenhum. Esse vídeo aqui não vai caber em lugar nenhum. Nem o YouTube vai aceitar nem nada. Então, beijinhos, gente. Fiquem sempre assim, entende? Eu acho que o importante na vida é a gente nunca encarar a realidade de frente. Você tem que ser uma ficção. Se você for uma ficção, você vai passando tranquilamente por todo lugar, porque todo mundo é uma ficção e você está bem enquadrado. Se você for cair na realidade, entende? Aí a sua voz já piora muito, assim. Aí o Ulisses vai, aí o Ulisses vai, o Ulisses vem, aí o Ulisses vai pra lá, e que é mesmo, né? Por isso, então, que a ficção é muito melhor, porque aí as coisas fluem muito mais fácil, entende? Então, bom domingo para vocês.